Coach, welcome.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, nice having you again.
Yeah, pleasure meeting you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. No, I would describe our season as one that was an underwhelming season. In your own words, how would you describe our season?
Unpleasant.
Why would the coach describe it as such?
Because what we wanted to achieve, we couldn't achieve in terms of performance on the field, in terms of results on the field. I thought we fell below expectation. That's why I'm saying it was unpleasant, especially um, some of the games that we lost and drew at home. These were games that typically of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, we shouldn't have lost or drawn. But then that was what happened. And actually, if you look at these games, they are the very games that couldn't let us win the trophy. We lost so many games at home, and then we drew so many games at home. And the joy of the fans, especially, is at Baba Yara,
Yeah.
where when you win, the crowd become excited, the ambience around them becomes so great. But then, because we're not winning at Baba Yara, it made the whole thing unpleasant.
Coach, starting from the top, that's from the preseason. Do you think you got the ample time that ordinarily uh, you needed to train with these boys and get the best out of them?
I don't think so. We didn't have enough time, which I think everybody is aware of. We had um, a gate crashing program where we had to, as early as possible, try and bring in players and players based on recommendations. Um, but then initially, I was of the view that if we try to do a combined sort of a training, that would be enough for us to be able to cover up. When I say combined training, like combined physical, technical, and tactical training, which we did. But then I think the period was too short for the players to assimilate or accommodate the content of the training. And especially it was so because these players were coming from Division 2 and Division 1 sides, and the training content and the training methods, they were not used to it. We even had someone who was coming from a coast club, and coming to play for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. So the period itself to prepare for the season wasn't enough. But then as a technical staff or as coaching staff, we did our best to make sure that we could get them to find their rhythm. And we're also hopeful that the first 5 or 6 matches will be part of our preseason matches. But then because we're not winning at Baba Yara, it created a sort of anxiety in the players, within the team, and this actually did not augur well for us.
Yeah. Coach, you've talked about players coming from lower divisions. Were there the ideal picks that ordinarily you would have wanted to bring on board, or because of the time limitation and the quest to just get things done in a short space of time to begin it, that was why some players came in?
Yeah, these were not the ideal ones that I wanted. But then because of the period when I came in, most of the players I wanted had already been engaged by other clubs. So it was very difficult to get them. So because we had in mind a project of trying to rebuild, so I thought it probably prudent that we bring in players from lower divisions to try and groom them. But then when they were brought in, I think the pressure, the dynamics of Kumasi Asante Kotoko are different from when you are playing or coaching other teams. So these players couldn't cope with the pressure, and that, as I said, created a lot of anxiety in them, and it actually didn't augur well. So ideally, these were not my first choice. I mean, what do you call it, players.
Okay. But at some point in the season, there was this craze that supporters, our own supporters, it was obvious that they were happy anytime that some sessions were happy anytime that we lose games. At that point, how did you feel? And did you feel like there was no way back for you to win the love of the support and to make things right?
I don't think so, because I still believed that we could get out of the trouble we found ourselves in at that period. Because as a coach, there are low moments and high moments in a team. And for me, it wasn't so much of a bother for me, because most of those people who were happy about our losses, somebody like me, and I'm sure you yourself knew where they were coming from. I mean, because of the manner in which I exited. I knew some of these things were going to come up, but then the only way to have silenced some of these things was to win games. So I didn't give up. I was very optimistic. I knew that if the players become cooperative, if they become determined and they become confident in the process, we'll be able to overturn things. So I never gave up. I was very optimistic, because I believe that perpetual optimism is a force multiplier.
Coach, you work hand in hand according to the hierarchy of the IMC, that you work closely with Coach Kwesi Appiah, and he has been away with the Sudanese national side. What would you say was the relationship and influence that he had on the whole team recruitment and then the performance?
The relationship was very good. Let me even say it was excellent, and the influence was also very positive. Excellent and positive in the sense that we kept communicating amongst ourselves through calls, leaving of audios behind due to time differences. We kept communicating to ourselves. He also watched our games from afar, from wherever he was. He watched our games and gave me feedback as to what to do. So in terms of relationship, it was excellent. And do not forget that my first coming, when I came in, I was always at his end, at his hotel or at his residence before a game and after a game to get a few pep talks as to what to do based on his observations. So he's been a long-standing
somebody you looked up to and
superior to me, that we've worked very well. And his influence, he understands the game. His level of coaching, he's been to national teams, he's played at the national team. He himself has been a former captain of the club, so he knows the dynamics within the football ecosystem, and especially when you are coaching Kotoko. So he gave advices that were spot on for us to succeed.
Coach, what would you say was the reason for some of the players that you brought in together with the old guys? What was the reason they couldn't perform to the levels that we thought they could perform?
Yeah, I think it was due to their individual performances. I think individually they were not there, and again, I think the senior players or the old players who were supposed to guide them didn't give them that enough mentorship. What do you call it?
Sort of orientation and guidance.
Yes, enough mentorship, feelings around them, and I think that actually affected us, and this created some sort of imbalance in the team, because like if you look at even the German national team for now, it's a blend of experience and inexperience, old and the young. So basically that was what we expected, that especially those who have seen it before in the team were going to do. But then it didn't happen that way. And we didn't also have that harmony that we expected to have because of this lack of mentorship from
Senior
both
players.
sides.
Yeah.
I mean, from the senior players,
Yeah.
and I think this actually affected the team chemistry.
Yeah. Coach, there were lots of highs and lows during the season. And my lowest was when we lost away to Dreams FC. Were there moments like that for you in the season that you lost the game, the circumstance surrounding it? Because after that game, I felt I was empty and I didn't know what to do next. And I was just putting myself in your shoes. Were there moments like that that you felt during the season? And what did you do to recover?
Sure. I mean, if you look at our game against Insuatreman, where we conceded uh, in added time and we lost the game, uh, it was so disappointing, very, very disappointing, because we played well in that game, but then just a loss of concentration, and then we lost the game. If you look at our game against Accra Lions, it wasn't the best. Even when we played, as you said, Dreams, if you look at the spirit behind the team, it wasn't the best, and I'm sure you could see it from the hotel. It wasn't the best of spirit. But then, as a coach and as a technical staff, I tried to make them understand that they needed to be very confident and be determined to move on. And as usual, teams that always win are united, and players of teams that always win are united, and players of teams that always lose are not. So it wasn't a surprise to me, because when you lose games, there are a lot of attributions. This person will say maybe it was a technical staff error, it was an individual error from a player, so many attributions. But then these games were games that I think were very disappointing. But as a coach, I kept my focus. I made sure that I didn't show signs that indicated that the moments were so bad, so that the players wouldn't also be affected by that. So these were some of the low moments.
Yeah. Coach, were there a period that you thought of, you contemplated, maybe I should leave and that would be the solution to the whole problem? Because this is the most difficult period any coach at Kotoko has faced. So I was thinking about, were there moments that you thought about, maybe I should just leave and then see how things go for the sake of the club?
Not at all. Not at all. I never thought that way. It never even crossed my mind, because I knew things were going to turn around, and I knew it was the circumstance around the team at that time that made the environment around the team not to be that friendly and not to be that joyous. So I never thought that way. And I also try to engage some of the legends. I mean, some football people who have seen it all. I try to engage them, or some of them also try to engage me. So their words of advice, their words of wisdom gave me some encouragement. And I will also say that the IMC, the other members of the IMC, Kwesi Appiah himself, and Nana Ewiapenkra, Emmanuel Dasobre, they were all supportive. We were all one. So anytime I turned, I saw that I had some support behind me. And I think that made me to stand strong and move on.
Coach, how I want you to delve into this for me. At some point, we went as many as 8 games without defeat, and then we were second, I think, in the first round. Second round comes, and we seem lost. Things are just falling apart. How did it happen, and what was the reason for that? Because personally, I struggle to understand how a top performing team can just slip in.
Yeah, I think we changed our structure when we were not getting the results from a 4-2-1-3 or a 4-1-2-3 formation, and we went into a 3-5-2 formation, the structure, and it actually helped us because that made us to have a lot of players in the middle of the park anytime we had possession and anytime we did not have possession, and that made us to put a lot of pressure on the opponent. This actually worked so well because we had somebody like Sheriff Mohammed, who was there, very workaholic, very good with the ball and very good without the ball. He could win tackles, he could win duels. So he was actually the pivot of the team. And the structure, the new structure seemed to suit the players very well, and they were enjoying it because we kept on repeating what we were doing at training for them to be conversant with it, so that without thinking so much about the moments on the field, they could take decisions.
Yeah.
And then we gave them the break, asked them to stay a little bit away from football for the first week, and then the rest of the weeks or the days left for them to come back. They do some light jogging. We gave them a program. And then they came back, everything was okay, we're training. But then unfortunately, we lost Sheriff through a motor accident. We lost him. So the campaign within the structure was no more. So we had to resort to other people like Rocky Jamina. But then the pressure at that position was so much for him and other players that we tried there. So that actually didn't work because in that structure, you need that person to be able to slide in to make it a back four anytime we did not have the ball. And then you needed that person to also advance anytime we had the ball to adapt to attack. And Sheriff could do this with ease. I mean, without thinking about it, he could do it with ease. But then those we tried there couldn't actually fit into it. So it actually affected us. And then when we started losing games, a whole lot of attributions, three back is not helping us. We have to go into a different structure, different formation, all that. And then we had to try as much as possible to change, and then we changed. So I think that maybe also complacency also set in somewhere along the line because we went so many matches at that level to get the results. So the players thought that we're home and dry, but then that wasn't it. We weren't home and dry. So I think that one was also a factor.
Coach, how would you assess the performance of the signings? And a lot of people talk about blaming you for our failure this season. People who are not privy to the stories behind the scenes. Would you say you accept whatever blame that you are portion? How would you assess the signings?
I think that for the signings, I think the players who came in, to me, what I expected from them, I couldn't get from them. So I would say, as far as their performance, some of them, not all of them, some of them, their performances wasn't anything to write home about. So it became disappointing because I thought that with the training content and the training methods, I could improve upon their performance, but then it didn't also work. As a coach, I'll take the blame. I brought them in, and I was supposed to make sure that they upgrade in terms of performance, or they improve in terms of performance to be able to live up to the standard and expectation in Kotoko. But it didn't work that way. So I'll take the blame. The blame shouldn't go to anyone.
Coach, which side during the season did you enjoy playing against? And mine is a bit weird because I learned a lot from you. And watching Accra Lions play Kotoko at the Babaya Stadium, though we lost, but I think I enjoyed the game because of the tactical aspect of the game, not because of the result. Which opposition did you enjoy? Whether you lost or you won, but you enjoyed the game because of the tactical chess that both coaches were playing?
I think it will still go back to that game, Accra Lions, because it was a game of transitions, defensive transitions into offensive transitions. They were very athletic, they were very quick, and in terms of their positional orientation, they were good. Anytime they had the ball, they were able to identify the gaps behind the defense, and because they were very athletic, their upfront players had a lot of speed. They played the ball behind our defense, and anytime they did that, we were in trouble. So it was a game that was an end-to-end game. It was a night football. The weather was good. Players had a lot of energy. You could see Accra Lions very determined to beat Kotoko for the first time in the Premier League. We also wanted to try and then stop that losing streak at Baba Yara. So you could see the determination from both teams, that both teams were well determined to be able to win. So it was a game that I'll always remember.
What are the plans for next season?
Yeah, I think the season has ended, and then what we have to do is to reflect on what went on in terms of player recruitment, in terms of player performance, in terms of player discipline. We need to look at all these things, which of course we have already done. We've had a series of meetings on this. We need to do a lot of structural changes in the playing body with respect to signing of some players to come to augment, this time not players from lower divisions, but players who have seen it in the Premier League. So these are basically some of the things that we need to also do. We need to actually go out there as early as possible to make sure that the signings that we want, or the players that we want, we are able to get them as quickly as possible.
Coach, you've managed a whole lot of people in your 2 spells at Kotoko, and I know you remember most of them. Out of the 2 teams that you've managed, will you give me your favorite, your ideal 11? You have Raza. I will help you with the goalkeeper. So I'll mention and you choose from them.
Okay.
In goalkeeping, you had Raza, Kwame Ba, Dan Lad, you've had Porte. So pick one to be in the post.
Raza Kabalora.
And at right back, you have Nete, you have Ishaku, you have Asamoah, and then you have Ejapon. Nete. At left back, you have Asma, Imoro, Charles, and then Nana Benyi, and then Bonsu. Who will you pick?
Imoro.
Center back, Ganiu, and then Mubarak played in that role. We've had a couple of... Which ones are you picking in that role? Mubarak has been there. Ansu has been there. Nuruddin has been there in that position. And I don't know if I should add Blade to that list because he's played there.
He's played there. I think I'll go for Ganiu, and then I'll go for Justice Blade.
Because you like the 4-3-3, the midfield, I'm giving you the options. You've coached Gama, Buedu, Lamte, you've coached Kayeke, you've coached Mudasiru, and your midfield 3.
Yeah, I think I'll go for Sharif Mohammed. I'll go for
Lamte is there.
Mudasiru, and I'll go for Lamte.
In attack, you've had Mbella, Mukwala, Infege, Opong, and the list goes on.
Yeah, I think I'll go for the top. I'll go for Mbella. I'll go for Mukwala.
Yes.
And then who else is there?
You have Opon, you have Infege, and Peter recently came. Tight contest.
Yeah, very.
Infege, Isaac, and then.
Yeah, I think collectively, if you put the performances together, I'll go for Infege. Because he did very well in the first season.
Coach, we are wrapping up. I know you are the right man for the job in our quest to reach greater heights. Do you believe you are the right man to carry us there?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.